Day in, day out, we work. We work hard either to achieve our personal target or someone else's target. But anyway, we live our life to the best. That keeps the world going. Whether you call it passion, enthusiasm, or dedication, people want to be motivated, and organizations want motivated people working for them. A motivated workforce is more likely to support the organizational culture and respond positively to change, thus bringing the organization to greater heights. Now, what motivates people to rise up again and again after they fall? What motivates people to go that extra miles to do their job? Could it be money? Could it be other factors come to play? Could there be difference between Gen X and Gen Y? Let's find out.
The purpose I go for working is I seek for experience, and then lastly I get what I want, so I satisfy.
I was working as a clerk in a supermarket. At the time, I feel that because I can learn something new, and then I exposed to something that I'm not really while I'm studying. Like how they will teach me how to assess key the data into a system, and then how the system will work and help the company to earn money. So it's fun to learn new things for me.
I gain new experiences, and in the end the achievement that I get, I feel good about it.
Happy. This not very happy. I more like I prefer study than working, because working is like basically doing the same thing. Because I just the basic employees, I just do the basic things. So maybe I think I more prefer study than working.
Maybe sometimes we will feel like very tense because when I'm still new in the working environment, I need the time to adapt myself to the working environment. And then when I was given a job, then they require me to finish it on time. And then let's say it's my first time to do the work, then they just give me like 1 hour to finish that, and then I feel very tension. So when I feel tension, then I will emo.
So when everything comes together at the same time, we get stressed out. So sometimes that will make me feel unhappy.
For the environment, because my colleague is very friendly, then I feel very comfortable. For long-term job, it's like my second home. There's many hours I work. I stay in the office and then my home. So I think the environment is more my priority.
Working environment, I mean the relationship between the colleagues, how they treat the people, and then the jobs prospect of companies.
Firstly, I look at the company's condition. I would like if the company practice work-life balance. That means they have allocate good time for us, that they won't have us overstressed and so on, and they will send us for courses for improvement and things like that.
I think it's not because for Gen Y is more materialistic, so I think monetary support is what they are concerned for. And for Gen X, I think they more loyalty to the company.
Actually, I don't think so, because if less for the Gen X, I think that maybe the salary, because when they are well equipped with all the mean, they are already exposed to the environments, and then they have already their experience, and then actually they will look for the higher elements to achieve when they want. They will look at different things because since the Gen X already have their experience from the previous, so they actually see things at different angles. So there are different things motivating.
I think it depends on the individual. It won't be the same for everyone.
First is the environment, meaning the overall environment of the place that I'm working in. We can talk about the physical environment, the lighting, how does the whole office looks like. Then the other thing is that people you work with, if they are cooperative, if they are friendly, if they are open to suggestions and comments and criticism, that will help to motivate you work in some place.
First and foremost, that would be the environment. And also if you ask me personally, I would say I feel good if I can actually develop people, help people to develop in their careers and so on. That means actually feel good at work. And of course, meeting others are also another important thing that make me feel good every day.
My achievement, for example, I can, some of the papers that I've written appear in some journal, or I finish a book, or you know that you are teaching, and then the students, once they graduated, they come and see you and say, they really appreciate that you have been teaching them, and what you have been teaching them is, really help them in the future.
Well, it should be the same thing in the opposite direction, meaning if the environment is not good, if you don't feel that the place you are staying in feels like a place conducive to work, then you will not be able to work. Plus, of course, if you feel that you work with people who are not encouraging, they are not open-minded, that will make you feel bad in the workplace.
Things are not run smoothly. Okay, when there is inefficiency in the processes. Okay, if some things actually can be done within 2 hours, but it's taking me longer because of other humans' intervention or factors, that make me feel bad, and it can, have influence on the mood that I have for the day.
Well, being appreciated is the one thing. Feeling that you are adding some value to the workplace by your work, and people feel that you are getting some kind of encouragement, that what you did is contributing to the rest of the organization that you are working with, that will make me feel better. But sometimes this is not about me only. There are other lecturers who work on weekends. They come to the office and they try to finish their work on weekends. Now, we are not really asking for anything, but sometimes you get the feeling that people think that you are just working 9 to 5 or 8:30 to 5:30, and that's it. They don't know that we come on weekends and work on weekends. Even our holidays and off days, we come and work. Even Hari Raya, sometimes I have to come and work. So it's not that I want people to tell me that I'm doing a great job, but when you divide the jobs, you should, look at. If there are people who work and they don't talk about their work, they work extra, but they don't say that they are doing this and that.
Bureaucracy, which things that can be done. It can only there are certain steps, right? If you can cut all those steps, unnecessary steps, that would be much better. So change of, I would say, processes. Yeah. Bureaucracy is of course related also to the processes. If you have bureaucracy, then there are more processes that you have to do to complete certain tasks. Other things, I would say, oh yes, if you're talking about my current environment right now, perhaps that's something that I want to see being changed is the condition of the environment.
Not always. Not always. Sometimes you get higher salary, but you are not happy with the place you are working in. But usually, I mean, if they are giving you a higher salary, the implication of a higher salary is that the environment is good. Otherwise, they will not pay you a higher salary. Unless you work in a dangerous environment, yes. Like if you work in Iraq, for example, they pay you a lot of money. They give you they actually give you a lot of money. But that place is dangerous. You can die any minute. But it's up to you. You want to go there and work or not. This is
not necessarily. There are other factors that actually make people go to work, even though they are not highly compensated in terms of monetary. They could be because they are passionate about certain things, so they don't mind about not being paid highly. Although if they want to, they can choose to do it outside. Like for example, if you talk about private and public practices, even for doctors, right? If you work in the government hospitals, if you compare them with those working in the private, you can see that those working in the private are earning much more than these people working in the government hospital. So, but yet you can see there are still many doctors in the government hospital.
no, I don't think so because the first, if you look at the there is something they call world view, how you perceive the world. Generation X perceive the world different from Generation Y. The end results that we look for at Generation X might be different from the end results of Generation
For
Y.
example, money or
Money can be one thing, satisfaction,
job.
self-esteem. It's you might see that generation, that the 80s and above generation, they don't really look at learning, expanding their knowledge, knowing or asking the question why in everything. Why this thing is working this way? Why it doesn't work that way? From my experience, Generation Y do not really look at the why question. I mean, I'm not generalizing here, but I can see that they are not really. You can see that some of them are frustrated with what is happening around them. So that will lead to being careless. Maybe because you are helpless, you feel careless. Could be. So I think they are different. I don't think they are the same because of different things.
I don't think so. It's not. But I do not know what those factors are in principle. But I would say that the factors could be very, very different. Okay, because if you look at your Generation Y now, you are. I think the way that you communicate and the way that you think are totally different from the Generation X. Even if you work, there are certain philosophy which can be very diverse between these two. Okay? So when you have diversion in terms of management philosophy, there will be later on there will be going to be a conflict between this generation and this generation. And I do not, you need to do some other research actually to find out what are the actual factors, but I would say they're not the same.
Okay.
Mm.
Thank you
Right?
so
You are
much.
not asking me about the factors, right? What
No.
are they? You're just
Opinion.
yes, opinion whether they are the same. I would say no. Perhaps the generation Y would go for the monetary. You know why? Because they are too accustomed, they do not, well, I would say that in some way they are very fortunate because they have the parents to do everything for them, right?
Yes.
But for Generation X, they are the one who actually built up or set up for the family, everything. But for the Generation Y, they just ask, isn't it? They just ask from Generation X, the parents. What want. So most parents actually give. I would say that also was fault on the Generation X.
We undertook a research and tried to find out what motivates people at work by asking them to tell us in their own words. We sought to discover the common factors that motivate people and whether there is any difference between Gen X and Gen Y. From the results shown, we found out that having a good working atmosphere that suits one's capability or personality appears to be a strong motivator for Gen X. Sense of achievement also motivates people because it boosts people's self-esteem if not self-worth. Besides, positive working relationship also appears to be important, such as having trust and respect from colleagues and being supported by the people around you, where this indicates that social support is a significant motivator. Why financial reward is the most important source of motivation. We think that it is because young people nowadays are eager to stand on their own financially. They do not want to burden their parents so much anymore. With a sound financial position, they can go to pursue their own life dreams. Gen Y attach higher to the quality to their working relationship. A sense of achievement and being recognized appear to be strong motivation too. Seen in this competitive world with fresh graduates everywhere, it is good enough to secure a job in this day and age. A good atmosphere is preferred, but as long as it is not too bad, Gen Y does not mind to work at a less ideal place. In conclusion, our results suggest that there is a difference of motivators between Gen X and Gen Y. Gen X, they are more focused on working atmosphere than Gen Y, whereas Gen Y, they are more focused on financial rewards compared to Gen X. But the similarity in that both groups that But the similarity between these two groups is having a positive relationship with colleagues is a strong motivator. We can see that regardless of Gen X and Gen Y, having a good chemistry and relationship among colleagues and managers certainly goes a long way in motivating